Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aqila binti Yusuf as the leader in this group and also a student from the Diploma in Hajj and Umrah Management from Innovative International College, just like my other friends. So today, we from Group D will present on how we are going to draft a business letter. So we will start with the guideline for composing letter presented by Shazani Sopi.
Okay, guideline for composing letters. This resource is organized in the order in which you should write a business letter, starting with the sender address. Letter is written on the letter head. Next, the sender's address usually is included in the letterhead. If you are not using a letterhead, included the sender address at the top of the letter on one line above the date. Do not write the sender's name or title as is included in the letter's closing. Include only the street address, city and zip code. Next, the date. The deadline is used to indicate the date the letter was written. However, if your letter is completed over a number of days, use the date it was finished in the deadline. Write out of the month, day, and year to inches from the top of the page. Next, the receiver address is the inside address. It is always best to write to a specified individual at the field to which you are writing. If you don't have the person name, do some research and by calling the company or speaking with employees from the company. Included a personal title such as Miss, Mr. or Doctor. Usually, people will not mind being addressed by a higher title than they actually possess. Next, salutation. Use the same name as the inside address, including the personal title. If you know the person a typical address them by the name, it is acceptable to use only the first name in the salutation. It is also acceptable to use the full name in a salutation if you cannot determine gender. Okay, next, opening lines. Opening line is the sentence on how you write the beginning of the letter. Next, body block format, single space and leave. Justify each paragraph within the body of the letter. Leave a blank line between each paragraph. When writing a business letter, be careful to remember that conciseness is very important. In the first paragraph, consider a friendly opening and then a statement of the main point. The next paragraph should begin justifying the importance of the main point. In the next few paragraphs, continue justification with background information and supporting details. The closing paragraph should restart the purpose of the letter and in some cases request some type of action. Next, closing. The closing begins at the same vertical point as your date and one line after the last body paragraph. Capitalize the word only, for example, thank you, and leave 4 lines between the closing and the sender's name for a signature. If a colon follows the salutation, a comma should follow the closing. Otherwise, there is not function after the closing. Next, enclosure. If you have enclosed any document along with the letter, such a resume, you indicate this implied by typing enclosure will be, and you may list document you are including in envelope. For instance, if you have many documents and need to ensure that recipient is aware. Be a good idea to list the name. Next, another signature. Next, another important factor in the readability of a letter is the font. The general accept font is Times New Roman size 12 or the choosing a font, always consider your audience. If writing a you when choosing font. Okay, next.
Opening sentence is usually at the beginning of a written sentence, and the opening line is part or to start the main paragraph. The Latin term incipit is used for the first word of the opening sentence for the all text. Greetings or speechless in very large letter are usually formal. It usually start with there, be sure to include the person's title if you recognize him, such as Miss, Mrs., Mr. or Doctor. If you are unsure about the person's title, just use their name, such as Johnny. We need a line in an accidentally letter or skill email, which is to discuss with previous correspondence to mention how we found the recipient, name, address, to mention why we wrote to the recipients. Okay, as you can see on the slide. The example of good opening line such as you can see, you can add on a date to your opening line as the evidence when you are writing this letter. Another example like, I am writing to inquire about after having seen your advertisement in, after having received your address from, and so on. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Anis Fitria binti Muhammad Hafiz. Okay, today I will presentation about closing lines. The closing line of a letter is a word of praise used before signature to purpose farewell. This phrase shows respect and appreciation for the recipient. Okay, why we need a closing line in a business letter? To make reference to a future event, to repeat an apology, and to offer help. Example for good closing lines are, if you require any future information, feel free to contact me. I look forward to your reply. I look forward to hearing from you. Please advise as necessary. I will appreciate your immediate attention to this matter. Okay, closing. How to make a good first impression on your readers. Some example of closing to avoid, such as always, cheers, love, take care, so XOXO, talk soon, see ya, and hugs. Example for closing are sincerely, respectful, regards, your truly, and many more. Okay. Signature. The signature include your handwritten and typed name. For formal letter, you should include your full name. In semi-formal letter, you may use only your first name and put your title in bracket after your name. Okay, thank you. Okay, my name is Adila Zafira binti Jasni, and I will continue the next part about categories of business letter. First, sales letter. This letter is one of the most common forms of a business letter that is used in almost every field. Typically, sales letters start off with a very strong statement or line that will capture the impact. The sales letter serves to introduce the product of the company to customer or clients. The purpose of a sales letter is convincing a buyer or a customer to purchase a product or service. This letter is written in an attractive manner that can strike the interest of the potential customer. Next. Next, an acknowledgement letter. In business dealing, an acknowledgement letter, or known as a letter of receipt, is also quite often used. The acknowledgement letter can be receipt of service and goods, receipt of any other letter, or a general inquiry. The objective of this letter is to let the reader know the items requested in prior combination and the queries and complaints said by customer or clients have been received. Next letter is order letters. Order letters are a kind of business letter that are sent by consumer or businesses to a manufacturer, retailer, or wholesaler when purchasing a vendor's product or requesting the company's service. It is the first document that is created when a particular business transaction takes place. Next, I will pass it to Amiza Eliza.
Next, I will continue to cover letters. Cover letter is a document that attached to your job application that show why you're the best candidate. In addition, it can introduce to a more personal way about your resume and to be able to deliver skill and achievement. Next, letter of resignation. A resignation letter is an act of leaving your job. The resignation letter basically sent to nearest manager to give him notice and should inform him when the last day of work if an employer wants to leave his job. Next, letter of recommendation. A letter of recommendation can describe a person's qualification or skill, no matter in terms of employment or education. The letter usually comes from an employer, professor, college, or teachers. They will discuss in terms of quality and ability to be a suitable candidate for a position, college, or graduation school program. Next, I will pass it to Siti Aisyah binti Roslani.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Siti Aisyah. I will continue the other letter. Okay, the next letter is complaint. Complaint letter is the word and tone to choose to use the letter complaining to a business may be deciding better on whether your complaint is satisfied or not. Be direct but thoughtful. And if you want the company to listen the complaint letter, please use the professional tone. The next letter is adjustment. A letter of adjustment normally send a response to complain or claim. You have to keep the tone factual and let the customer know that the receiver understands the complaint. If the adjustment in the customer favor, begin the letter with the news. The next letter is inquiry and the last. A letter of inquiry asks a question of elicit of information from the recipient. You have to keep it clear and seasoned and release exactly what information you need when you compose the type of letter. Be sure to include the contact information so that it's easy for the reader to respond your letter. Thank you.
My name is Nurul Natasha binti Muhammad Fitri. What is recruitment? Definition. Recruitment is the method of actively seeking out, finding, and hiring candidates for a selected competition or job. The recruitment definition includes the word hiring method for organization to the individual recruits integration into the corporate. The simplest definition of accomplishment is that the method of distinctive interviewing and hiring staff of jobs. Of course, the fact is far additional advanced. The accomplishment method involves several moving elements and there are many alternative styles of recruiting. Type of recruitment. Recruitment will take several forms depending on the company's wants and resources. In small to medium-sized organizations, the hiring manager which will directly administer the new workers. Several firms rent third-party staffing agencies to create hires or use achievement method or sourcing that brings in outside achievement consultants to function as strategic consulting partners. Next, internal recruitment happens on a recruiter field job opening from an associate's degree organizations exciting talent pool, like hiring associate degree existing workers to a fit associate degrees to other team or promoting a worker to fill a highest level position. Next, staffing recruitment. Reference to recruitment working for third-party elements, agencies placing candidates in temporary and temporary employment opportunities. Next, contingency recruitment is a practice that only pays recruiters if they manage to get new employers for the employer. Contingency recruiter fees square measure supported a proportion of the employer's annual earning. This can be a competitive practice where several contingent recruiters are hired to fill similar roles. Next, outplacement recruitment connects job seekers who have been laid off to new job opportunities. Additionally to job placement, outplacement recruiters offer a range of services to arrange talent for re-entering the personnel, like guidance, mock job interviews, and soft skill coaching. Next, specialist recruitment is common because the hiring desires of organizations vary by business, role, and size. Some recruiters target specific industries like teach or healthcare. Others might specialize in other roles like executive level recruiting. Okay, next. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Back to me. Okay, I will present about the recruitment process. Although the definition and process of hiring varies from company to company, there are some basic steps that any employer can take to make hiring smoother and more successful as follows. First, determine staffing wants. Recruiters work with hiring managers and alternative hour professionals to work out what position got to be crammed and also the skills and qualification need for every role. Second, write job description that contain a taciturn job outline, responsibilities of the position and qualification and skill needed. Roaring recruiters craft compelling job description to draw in qualified candidates. The third, promote the work posting to candidates actively seeking employment. Verify the channels that may best reach job seekers, like posting on job site, sharing across social media platforms, and attending in-person or virtual hiring events. Next. Source candidates through direct reach and referrals. Sourcing focus on passive candidates or those that aren't actively trying to find employment. A recruiter or dedicated sources can conduct an intensive analysis to search out candidates that area you need a decent work, then proactively reach out and encourage them to use it. Next. Review resume to search out high candidates, whereas it will be time intense. Recruiters grasp what to appeal for once reviewing resume to quickly determine the most effective candidates, like whether or not the person has the specified skills, and tailor their resume on the work posting. Next. Conduct interview. Once the person pool has been narrowed down, it is time to conduct interviews. The amount of interviews rounds might vary counting on the organization and role. Assessment and reference checks might also crop up at this stage. Next. Extend employment supply. Once a competition is chosen, employment supply is extended and negotiation begins. It is conjointly necessary to contact candidates. Work health organization weren't handpicked. Each candidate deserves a response of food. Reach to reject candidates can create a positive impact on your company's name. Last but not least, hire and abroad. Once a candidate has accepted the work supply, the hiring and onboarding method starts. You have got success creating a match. That's all from us. Thank you.